Hello and welcome. Today we're going to look at a specific module within FlipAlert. Today's module is going to be profitable flips. So this is assuming you've already signed up and are in your FlipAlert dashboard. Your dashboard is going to look a little bit different than mine. I have some kind of fake data here to display some information so you can kind of see what ultimately it's going to look like once you get going and are in. But to start, we're going to go to the profitable flips section under Amazon to Amazon. When you first log in here, you're going to see nothing under your notifications tab. Notifications tab is brought in based on our tasks, which we're going to talk about. So when you first log in, you're going to have no tasks, which means you're going to have no notifications, and that is okay. That is what you should expect to see. So the first thing you're going to do is actually go to your task section right here. And tasks are going to kind of be our mothership when it comes to our Amazon flips, at least in the profitable flips category. Our task is how we tell FlipAlert what types of products we want to see. And we can edit and remove and have as many of these as we want, but this is how we're going to refine and search down. So when flips get found by our system, it knows exactly what to show you on the front end under the notification section. So you can see here I have a number of tasks already. I have some active, some paused, but we're going to create a new one together. So you're going to click Create Task in the upper right. Under the Create Task section, you have a number of options to create some additional filters. The very first one we're presented with is our seller type. So this is deciding between what kind of seller are we willing to buy from. Amazon is Amazon.com as the seller themselves, seller and shipper. FBA would be, of course, third-party FBA. So this is a seller like you and me shipping something to Amazon. So the third-party seller is the seller record, but Amazon is still the one shipping it. It's fulfilled by Amazon. And then FBM, of course, is going to be we as the seller are both shipping and selling the product. You can choose any of these, one or all, to decide kind of what you might be sourcing from. Many new A2A sellers stick with just Amazon, and then eventually, as you get more comfortable, you might branch out to FBA and or FBM as you understand how to kind of characterize and figure out who is comfortable sourcing from, etc. So right now, we're going to do Amazon and FBA just to start. Your task name, this is fairly important as well. This is how we're going to be able to differentiate this task from others, not only in our task section, but also in our notification section. When products are coming into that field, we'll be able to tell exactly which task is bringing them in. And so if we see something we don't like, we can know what task to edit to remove that type of product. So you can wait to the end to name this if you want. For us right now, we're just going to do demo task as our task name. And then the last thing on the screen is our profit and ROI. So this is a huge differentiator between FlipAlert and say something like Keepa, right? So you're going to see some overlap. And we get this question a lot. How is FlipAlert different than Keepa deals in particular? We give you all the same characteristics and data points that Keepa does, but we also give you some additional ones that unfortunately Keepa doesn't do right now. And I don't think they will ever do something like profit and ROI or some of the other things that we are able to provide. And the value of having these in and being able to manipulate them is it speeds up your A2A process substantially, right? Something with Keepa, you're going to see thousands of products. You're going to click into each one, review, and then pull up some separate calculator, decide if it's even profitable or if it makes sense for you profit-wise. Whereas here, we're going to do all that work up front, and we're only going to show you the products that meet your minimum profit and ROI requirements. So I do recommend going fairly loose. When you're watching this tutorial, I don't recommend just following me click for click. Now, you certainly can if you want to just set up something and make sure it works, but you really want to refine this to fit your needs. What we find is people kind of live and die by these tasks, and when you get too narrow early on is where you're going to have an experience that maybe you're looking for more products, you're looking for something different, or you're new to A2A and you don't know what to expect. Loose is great because you start to understand what types of products come in, and then we can refine down from there. So for me, I'm just going to do minimum profit of $5. Obviously with the new fee structure and shipping and everything, we do have to raise our profit a little bit. Some people still find value in the $2 to $3 range, but for us, for this, we're going to do 5. And the ROI, I'm going to do 30%. Again, it's a little bit lower than I personally do, but I want to be loose, and we can explain in kind of a separate video why going lower here, just because it says 30%, doesn't mean we actually will only get 30%. We might be able to buy something that says 30% today, but is actually a 50% ROI because of what's happening with that particular listing. So right now, we're just going to set these Under advanced, this is where we can get even more kind of strategic or surgical with it, if you will. We have the ability to include and remove categories. So if you don't want to see clothing and shoes, you don't want movies and TV or CDs and vinyl, etc., you can add or remove. You can clear everything up all at once, so they're all unchecked, and you can just do one. Or of course, you can add them on. Again, for your very first task, I do recommend kind of just throwing everything in there. We do some stuff already. We already don't pull in digital music in some of these like Kindle store stuff. You don't have to worry about that. We take care of that for you. But for example, you might be someone that doesn't want to do clothing and shoes. I understand that. Certainly could remove it, but there's also some really kind of crazy deals sometimes where $100 product is $5, and I think even if you don't do clothing, you might want to see that. So again, I like being loose to start. Personally, I have one that's specifically for clothing and shoes, and then one that isn't. So for me, I might just remove this, fill this out completely, create the task, and then create a separate task and only have clothing and shoes selected. You can also remove and exclude specific brands. And so you'll have some here that are just kind of auto-filled. What we do for this brand selection right here, when you're looking at this, is going to look different than mine. We just show you the latest brands that we found. Every time we find an A2A flip, we record that brand. And so we have thousands of brands that are recorded in the system, and we just show you the latest ones that we found. But you can type and we'll autofill. And if we have it, if it has ever been a flip since we started recording, it'll fill up for you. So let's say we don't want to see certain Amazon brands. Like look at all these different Amazon brands here. Amazon Essentials is a pretty big one. So we can say exclude Amazon Essentials and exclude Amazon Basics. So now anytime that we find a product that comes in, if it is one of these brands, we're immediately going to ignore it and we're not going to show it to you at all. And this is, again, the beauty of creating as many tasks as you want. You can get really, really narrow. So let's say instead of excluding, we only wanted to include. So we only wanted to see DeWalt. We're a big DeWalt seller. We would change from exclude, we just click it and it'll go to include. And now we're only going to see products that have the brand DeWalt. And maybe we can just go down that list. We go to like, Bosch, right? And we just kind of create a tool list of products because we know tools very well. And so we can do it that way. Lots of different things to do when it comes to including and excluding brands. And again, when you keep it loose, if you see brands that are constantly coming up that you don't want to see, you can come in and edit your task at a later time and exclude them from here. Max BSR, this is going to be your bestseller rank. Right? This is that green line on the Keep It graph. And this is what is the maximum sales rank, essentially, that we want to see when it comes to flips that you're going to be shown. Again, go higher than you think. A lot of people come in and they go, oh, I only want to see under 100,000. And yes, you'll find products like that, but there is so much value and so much profit in 500,000, 600,000. Every single listing has a story, and just because a rank might be higher than you're used to doesn't mean it's a bad product. There's lots of reasons why a rank might be 500,000 and we could get it down to 200,000 or even 50,000. Especially when we talk about seasonality or products that are hard to stock, right? Let's say a product's been out of stock for a month, that rank's just going to be naturally higher, and we would miss a really great restock if we were too narrow here. So for R, we're going to just do 500,000. Again, you can choose whatever one you're comfortable with. Minimum monthly sold. So this is that yellow line on Keepa, right? So if Amazon reports how many units sold each month, Keepa records that. We pull that in from Amazon as well, same way that Keepa does. And you can choose a number here. I personally leave this pretty blank for my loose task, but if I was getting really narrow and I only wanted to see high volume products, then certainly I might do like 50, 100. You can go up to whatever number that you want. The higher the number, of course, the less or fewer products that you're ultimately going to be able to see that are going to be captured. Business discount, so we'll also capture if there is a business discount offered on that ASIN and what the minimum ones that you want to see. So let's say we do like 10%, we're only going to show you products that have at least a 10% discount if you're on a business account versus a personal account. Again, we will show you that information in the notifications tab regardless. So what I do is I do leave this at 0 personally for a lot of my tasks, and then I'll filter it after the fact and look for products that just have a business discount. But again, if you're looking for, you have a very specific task and the whole point of that task is business discounts, this is a great one for you. Reviews, I really like doing one review here, but you can do any amount. One just validates it for me. Hey, this product is sold at least once. But you can certainly leave that blank. And then seller count as well, up to you. What's really interesting about seller count is if you do leave it blank or do one, you're going to get everything, right? Everything has at least one seller, including private label. And there's a lot of value in having just one seller. Let's say Amazon has been out of stock on a product for a long time and they restock. And of course, they're going to be the only seller on that. And we could snipe it and then resell it back at a higher value because we're going to be the only seller once we buy Amazon out. That's a huge upside to having only one seller on the listing. The downside is you are going to get a ton of different private label products. So, if you want a tax that's devoted just to removing private label, two or more is going to remove, 80% of private label right off the bat. So again, you have to kind of choose there what you want to do. Price variation and other filters. So this gets a little more technical, a little more advanced. We do have another section within the Discord for FlipAlert that'll allow you to kind of read through what each of these does. But ultimately, what we're doing is whenever a task finds a product and submits to our notifications, we're recording two things. We're recording the 30-day price, the 30-day average, and the 90-day average price. And what this section does is it allows you to compare those two in two different ways. So let's say a product is normally, it's showing it was $100. The 30-day average is $100, and today it's $50. So it's a huge jump down, and we think there might be an arbitrage opportunity. The 30-day average is 100. We can buy it for 50. Maybe we make 25 or $30 on that. But let's say it was artificially inflated. So this is normally a $50 product. It's been a $50 product for a year and a half. And for some reason, over the last 2 weeks, Amazon has decided to raise the price to $150. And didn't sell any, right? It's just not going to sell at 150 because it's not a $150 product. And then they lower the price back down to 50. Well, the system might think, well, hey, listen, the last 30 days, its average has been higher. It's averaged 100 because it was $150 for 2 weeks and $50 for 2 weeks. And so now it's dropping to 50. That's an arbitrage. But the 90-day average is actually $65 because normally it's only $50. And so what you can do here is you can actually remove those weird kind of outliers if you play around with our variations. So if you look at minimum price variation as a set value versus a percent. So we can say, all right, I want between the 90-day price and the 30-day price, I only want -10 to $10. And so essentially saying, hey, we only want a $20 window that the price over the last 90 days is going to be somewhere within that $20. So it's a fairly flat line, right? Now, obviously, it depends on the value of the product. If it's $1,000 product, $20 doesn't mean as much as if it's a $40 product. But you can choose very, very specific windows where you can find these products that are very flat. Like they're not jumping up and down. They're not artificially inflated. They've been very consistently priced, and now they're dropping. And this first one here, this is purely for a dollar amount. The bottom one, which I think is more valuable, is a percent. Because the percent, we don't really care what we're selling the product for as long as it's within a certain percentage. Again, we go back to if it's a $1,000 product, a $20 drop isn't really inconsequential versus if it's a $40 product, a $20 drop is a big deal. So by using percentages, we don't really care what the product is selling for. All we want to know is that it's within a certain percentage range. And so for this, again, if we do 10 to 10, we're saying, well, it's within a 20% range. It's either gone down or up by 10%, but it stayed pretty consistently within that 20% window. And we're not going to see kind of a lot of volatility. Again, this is something I tend to leave a little bit blank at first when I am starting, because again, I want loose. I want to understand the type of products that I'm finding. But this can be super, super powerful to really narrow in on products that are very consistent in price over the last 30 days instead of ones that might be a bit inflated that are just dropping down, because those graphs can be a little frustrating if you come across them. On the bottom here, we have 3 more sections that you can choose from. Unranked items, this is really, really important because, again, something that Keepa does miss if you're using the deal section with a BSR, a max BSR, we'll actually pull in products that have no rank or Amazon's not reporting a rank. And this was 2 or 3 years ago now. Amazon just stopped reporting certain ranks in certain categories. And those products aren't going to show up in Keepa deals when people are using a max BSR, because that's how most people use Keepa deals. But they can be incredibly profitable. They can be really, really great products. You can use other data points like seller counts, reviews, and even the offers tab to understand how that product is doing without the rank. If you check this box, we're going to include those. So as long as those products meet all of our other requirements, we're going to bypass the max BSR. If it has no rank, we're still going to show it to you. The bottom one here, profitable over 90 days. So then going back to here, again, we capture our 90-day price and our 30-day price. So normally FlipAlert is built on 30-day averages. So if a product is profitable from the 30-day new price to what it is now, so it's a $50 today, but it's been $100 as a 30-day average on your new, and there's profit after we do fees, we're going to show that to you as long as it meets your criteria. This box here is, we'll also do that same math on the 90-day price. So it has to be profitable both on the 90-day average and the 30-day average, and then we'll show it to you. And so if you click that, again, you do potentially lose some products that are slowly rising in price, because that certainly happens. We've seen that across all different content models, OA, RA. Something is particularly popular, something is seasonal, and maybe 90 days ago it wasn't profitable, and now it is. We would lose seeing that. But by clicking this box, we also remove a lot of those, again, volatile stuff that is just bouncing around that maybe isn't actually profitable in the long term, only in the short term. So again, pretty powerful if you understand how it's worked, and you can kind of choose to click that or not click that depending on the task that you're creating. And then if you are a Walmart seller, which I know by the time of this recording, which is July 30th, 2025, it's a little hairy with some of the decisions Walmart's making, but there's still some categories that are really great on Walmart. If you check this box, we will only show you products that we UPC match to Walmart. So every time we find an A2A flip, we take the UPC, we throw it at Walmart, and we see if Walmart has a listing under that UPC. And then if it does, we will bring that information back to you in the form of what the price is on Walmart, what the buy box price is, as well as a hyperlink that you can click on. And I'll show you that in a second. This is really only for people that are solely doing Walmart. I would not check this if you are doing A2A, because you can sort after the fact. But if you're buying FlipAlert and you're like, I only sell on Walmart, I'm not ever going to sell on Amazon, then this might be interesting for you to use, because it'll just bypass all the stuff that you don't care about or can't see. We have two sections called Whitelist and Blacklist. So these are a little bit similar to this brand exclusion, but instead of the brand category, we're using the title. So you can whitelist or blacklist entire words that are found within the product title. So something that I did the other day, right? If I'm looking at blacklisting curtains, for example, there's a lot of maybe rugs and curtains, and I don't really want to flip rugs and curtains right now. But every time a rug and curtain pops up, curtain is in the title. It's blank, blank curtain, red curtain, green curtain, brand curtain, whatever it is. So I can just write in curtain, click the enter key. It's important. You'll see your blacklist keyword up here. And that is it. So now if curtain is in the title of our A2A flip, it will not show it to me. It will just remove it. It will not show up in my notifications. And we can add and remove keywords from individual tasks, but we could also do it in all the tasks at once, which is very handy. And then similarly for whitelist, let's say you love Disney and you only want to flip Disney products, but Disney as a brand only catches some, because there's Disney Funkos and there's Disney Mattel and there's Disney all over the place. All different kinds of brands make Disney. So instead we can just write whitelist, we can write Disney. And now we're only going to see products that Disney is in that title, regardless of the brand. So you can understand why this could be really, really powerful depending on how you use it. This came out first before we had the brand exclusions, so a lot of folks still use this whitelist blacklist feature, and is very handy. But you can kind of, if it's just brands that you're blacklisting, then certainly it makes more sense to use this section here. And then notifications, this is the last section. This tells the system how you want to be notified of new notifications, of new price drops. And so you will always get notified within FlipAlert itself, but we also allow you to connect a Discord server and get notified that way. And that's really nice if you have a VA that you work with, or you just want to be able to see those notifications come through on mobile, because right now, we're working on an app, but we don't have one. And so if you want to source mobile, which you can, and I do, you just have to log into the FlipAlert website from your phone. But this way you'll get some of those notifications for whatever task that you choose also on Discord, and Discord mobile can be a little bit handier. So you would set up your server, and I can show you how to do that in a separate video. If you're watching this, you're going to go click on, I don't know what we're going to title it yet. Click on the video that talks about notifications. There's going to be a notification specific video to how to set up your Discord server. But once your Discord server is set up, under this section, you'll actually see it. So I have a server called FA Pings, FlipAlert Pings, and I have 2 channels in that server. And if I choose one of these channels and I click create task, any product that meets the criteria for this task is then also going to be pushed to my Discord server to that channel. Again, very, very handy if you're sourcing on the go, or you just don't want to have the website up all the time. So that is creating our tasks. And again, we have all of them here. I didn't save that one, but it would have popped up on the list if I did. And you can see I have currently 5 tasks that are created that are live. I have another, 6 tasks here that are paused, and you can pause. You can go and edit these. So all the stuff that we just did, you can go in and edit them at any time, um, and activate them or deactivate them. And then once we do that, we go back to our notification section. We are then going to start loading products into our notifications. Now, notifications are not going to automatically be there. We just create our task, we click over notifications. You're not going to immediately see a whole bunch. It's for the minute you click save on your task, that minute forward, we are going to show you products that meet your criteria. But if you have a really, really tight task, you might not see products every minute or every 2 minutes, right? Like here, there was a 7-minute gap because my tasks are a little bit more narrow. But if you have very, very loose tasks, certainly you're going to see products pretty fast. Once we are in this section, I think I'm going to make a separate. So this was kind of our profitable flips tasks tutorial, which was already over 20 minutes long. And then there's going to be a separate video just on the notification section to show you like how to move these around and what these different things do. But stay tuned for that. I'll have that up very soon. And likely when you're watching this, you'll already have access to that. But for right now, that was Profitable Flips, Amazon and Avon tasks at the end of July 2025. And we will continue to update these tutorials as we push new updates to this section. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, you can open a ticket in the Discord for FlipAlert, or you can tag me in just general chat. If you need to get a hold of me personally and you're not in either of those places, Twitter is usually the best place. At Saul Sell Stuff, you can send me a DM. I do try to read all of them. Just please, let me know. It's a FlipAlert related question, and I'm happy to help. Thank you so much.